Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike, and in this old video, let me tell you the story of a book, right? And the inspiration, behind that book. The title is Are You With Me? And it's a book for kiddos, dealing with grief when someone close, a parent maybe, sadly passes away. It's also got what might be one of the most unintentionally hilarious covers ever. But if you're thinking, wow, what a lovely tale, think again, because maybe the story behind this book used some very real inspiration that the author, created. This story, it's still ongoing, so we got the allegedlys, and the accused ofs, but if even half of it is true, big yikes. So let's give it a go. So this story takes us to Utah. I mean, wow. I just can't believe it. In northern Utah lies the town of Camas, a small little rinky-dink town. The kind of place where, after saying the name, you quickly run out of things to say about it. Though I guess you can now add to that, Kouri Richins lived there. It's host to about 2,500 people, generally safe. And it's in a beautiful part of the state. Though, from what I've seen of Utah, it seems like the whole state is a beautiful part of this. I wouldn't kick it out of bed for farting. Anyways, I'm quickly running out of things to say, so let's get to its most recent, or maybe only, claim to fame, that the Richins family lived there. The Richins family were made up of Eric Richins, 39 years of age, his wife of 9 years, if you can believe that, Kouri, 33, and together Eric and Kouri had 3 children. This shit was written for me clearly. All boys, you got your Carter, your Ashton, and your Weston. Eric Richins was born in 1982 to parents Jean and Linda. Born in Bountiful, that's the name, though perhaps the adjective too, Utah. Growing up, it was all about hunting. Eric mad for it. He would even take trips to Africa, Mexico, Canada to hunt and bring back trophies. He was a very family-oriented guy, and he was always helping out on the Richins ranch. He was always happy to get stuck in, and then after heading to the University of Utah, he went on to create his own masonry beeswax, which by all accounts, doing well. Though mainly he was known as a fella who was full of life, he was always out there, and he was a real people person. Eric, he had been married once before to a woman named Julie. They married in 2005, though sadly, Julie would pass away in 2011. She sat in a fiery car crash when she was rear-ended by a pickup truck while she was sitting at a red light. And so his second wife was Kouri Richins. Eric and Kouri married in 2013. Born Kouri Darden, she was from Utah also, and herself she worked as a realtor. Hadn't always though, after getting a BS in healthcare admin, followed by a master's in human resources, she worked as an enhanced patient services and specialty clinic trainer, and later as an admin assistant in the Park City Hospital. She was always a bit of a go-getter though. In 2010, she registered Kouri Darden Housekeeping Services Limited, a housekeeping company. And then she went on to create her own realty company, K. Richins Realty, which she ran out of her Park City offices. McMansion's her speciality. Park City, by the way, was a 20-minute drive from the Richins home in Camas. So by all accounts, other than those actually within the marriage, things were great. They were grand. Kouri, the love of Eric's life, and they owned numerous properties together. As you can see in the pics, they seemed pretty happy together, happy family life, the 5 of them all together. Also taking what might be the worst, but probably funniest, weirdly airbrushed pics together. And they would be happier still come March 2022, when Eric and Kouri, they were about to buy this new big-ass mansion together. This one! Whoa! The most McMansiony of McMansions, it broke ground in 2017. But at the time of purchase, it was still unfinished. 2 million big ones was the price tag, with the idea being a flipperoo and collecting a nice chunk of change. Locals though were complaining about the house, calling it an eyesore and giving out that it disrupted the natural beauty of the area. Honestly, they're bang on the money. It looks like shit. But then, of course, tragedy struck on the 4th of March, 2022. At 3:22 a.m., Summit County Sheriff's deputies and emergency personnel responded to a 911 call from 282 Willow Court, Summit County, home of the Richins. Kouri had called saying she had found Eric unresponsive at the foot of the bed. When you know the EMTs and all that, they arrived, they did everything they could. But Eric, he was gone. Sadly, Eric Richins would pass away right there and then in the bedroom of his own house. How? Why? What happened? Well, Kouri would tell the police that the night before, her and Eric were celebrating the closing of that new house. And at one point, Kouri, she made a nice Moscow Mule for Eric. She went and she gave it to him. Eric sipping away in it while he was sitting on their bed. Probably, though, Eric should have just had a glass of water, or something, because, spoiler alert, this would not be the first time Kouri made Eric, a drink with a wink. Oh, and speaking of water, this old video, folks, is sponsored by Air Up. They're bringing this old video to you today. Air Up sent me some of their stuff so I can share it with you today. And it looks like a pretty cool water bottle, right? But it's a heck of a lot more than that. Are you sick of the taste of boring-ass water? Are you sipping away and wishing for something more delicious? Is your pee very yellow from, not hydrating enough? Inside an Air Up bottle, just water, 100% pure H5 PP. Cloud PP, if you will. But what Air Up does is it gives you scent-flavored water. Inside, it's just plain old water, but they give you these flavor pods that make your water taste. It changes the taste of your water through scent. Now, I know it sounds bizarrely weird. In fact, when I first learned of this, I told them they were insane. I told them this was impossible. I don't know how it works. The science, I can't wrap my brain around it, but I enjoy it. It's awesome. It also comes in so many different flavors. Personally, I like the blues and the watermelon, but you got your wilds, burbs, your fruit that came before the Colorade, and more. And if you use my exclusive code, ThatChapter, you get 20% off all orders. It's great. I mean, you're just drinking plain water, but because of the flavor pods, it tastes via scent. It's mad, but it really is awesome. And it makes you drink just more water, which I think we can all agree is just good because it keeps you good old healthy. So Air Up, look at you! Air Up, more like water down in my belly because I'm drinking so much of it. So please, once again, click the link in the description and use code ThatChapter to get 20% off. Thanks, Air Up. Now, where were we? So, Kouri made a Moscow Mule for her husband, Eric. He was drinking it in bed, and then Kouri went into one of her son's bedrooms. Her son at the time was having night terrors, couldn't sleep, so Kouri went in to read a kid's book, and she eventually fell asleep in her son's bedroom, waking up at 3 a.m., walking into her, the bedroom she shared with her husband, and finding Eric there at the bottom of the bed. Now, how did a healthy man, 39 years of age, suddenly die? Well, an autopsy and toxicology examination were done, and they found he had died of an overdose of fentanyl. He had 5 times the lethal dose in him. Mad shit. And it was the illegal kind of fentanyl, it wasn't medication or anything like that. And it had all been orally consumed. Crazy though. I guess he was a secret addict. It's very, very, very strange. Those who knew him said, they never saw him doing any drugs or heard him. A Moscow Mule would be the hardest thing he would have in his body. But hey, the silent killer. And the bad stuff is everywhere these days. Kids, we have a lot of fun on ThatChapter, but big news, drugs bad. And so Kouri was left to pick up the pieces, raise her 3 boys by herself, to try and do the best she could. And she did on the 1-year anniversary of Eric's death in March 2023, she released a book about dealing with grief, about her husband's passing. A book, that was for kids to help them, deal with tragedy. The blurb goes a little something like this. Are You With Me is written to create peace and comfort for children who have lost a loved one. It's to reassure children that although your loved one is not present, their presence always exists, and they walk through life with you as if they were here. The book did well, 5 stars. The reviews, lovely jubbly. She did publicity for it. She's interviewed on ABC, NPR, all of that.
Ago, Kouri Richins and her 3 young children lost their husband and father unexpectedly. No doubt a very challenging time for all. And it was also the genesis for Kouri to write a book to help other young families deal with death. She joins me now in the studio. Good morning. And so sorry to hear about your loss.
No, thank you. I appreciate it very much. It's been a long year, difficult year. And kind of writing this book has brought a little peace to me and my boys.
So take us back to last year. I mean, you've told me it's a rough go, and you felt a bit helpless as you were trying to get your kids to heal.
Yes, exactly. So my husband passed away unexpectedly March 4th of last year. And, as we were kind of going through the trials and navigation of different feelings and emotions, we, kind of just sat, and at the same time, we were looking for different resources to help us. Like, we've obviously never been through this. My kids have never been through this. So, nighttime readings are big for us. And so we kind of started looking through Barnes & Noble and Amazon and things that can kind of comfort, us through the nights during, and we just could not find anything that really was relevant for my kids and for our situation. And so, we're just like, well, let's write our own.
Yeah. So not having read the book, I mean, is there some religious sense to it?
There's not. Honestly, I'm not religious. There's no religion. As long as you believe in heaven, right, and afterlife, then it would be good for you. Kind of the 3 main points that I have discovered, I guess, in the last year is connection, continuity, and care.
So how are y'all doing? You guys, I guess you have good and bad days?
It's good and bad days. Mm-hmm. Yeah, some days you're like, okay, I got this. Like, we're okay, and we can figure this out. And there's other days, and it's like, what the heck? What am I doing? Like, I can't do this.
Though most of Kouri's publicity tour, I think was for the words, when my, I think especially with kids, and I have 3 kids, let he, kind of, especially what his heart, so.
Or if it's a parent, a sibling, or a friend, talking about loss with kids can be a tricky subject.
Joining us now is author of Are You With Me, Kouri Richins, to share her 3 C's to helping kids cope with grief. And Kouri, I want to start with your story. What happened in your personal life?
So my husband passed away unexpectedly last year. So it's March 4th was a 1-year anniversary for us, and he was 39. It completely took us all by shock. And we have 3 little boys, 10, 9, and 6. And, my kids and I kind of wrote this book on the different emotions and grieving processes that we've experienced last year. And, hoping that it can kind of help other kids, deal with this and kind of, find happiness some way or another. I'm new to all of this, so kind of doing all, research and reading books and things to try and understand, not only how to grieve as a widow, as a wife, but also, with my kids, how to help them understand what just happened. And what I have kind of found is, as I mentioned, it's kind of the 3 C's is how I visualize it, and it's, connection, continuity and care.
There's a promotion right now. Get a free copy of the book April 30th and May 1st through Amazon Kindle. You are an amazing woman and mom, and we thank you for being vulnerable and sharing this and touching the lives of others.
Thank you. I really appreciate being here. So,
Thank you, Kouri.
guys.
Thank you.
And a second book, Mom, How Far Away is Heaven, was due out soon. Kouri was going to release a whole series. She was hoping there would be the next Harry Potter. There would be one about a little girl who lost her mother, or a child who lost their sibling. Basically make this entire big franchise of grief books. And is that how this tale ends? Nope. 1 month after this interview, Kouri Richins was arrested and charged with murder. What?
According to unsealed court documents, autopsy reports revealed Eric died due to an overdose of fentanyl, 5 times the lethal dose. And it is believed his wife put it in a drink she gave him at home while having a Valentine's Day dinner. Reports also saying that Eric was suspicious of being poisoned and confided in a friend that he suspected his wife of poisoning him. Kouri has now been booked into the Summit County Jail, and during her first court appearance today, the judge denied her release. Neighbors now saying they are stunned at this outcome and that the Richins were always a friendly couple.
So yeah, big surprise. Almost as big of a surprise as the fact that she may not have actually sorta written the book she was doing all this publicity for. It seems she used Book Writing Lane, which is a book writing service. From what I gather, you approach them with ideas and how you want the story to go, and so on and so forth, and then they actually write the book itself, like ghostwriters or something. They also do the illustrations, marketing, etc. The reason I say this is because she left a testimonial on the website, essentially saying, "Thanks for writing the book. These guys did an amazing job at taking what I wanted illustrated and my words and ideas for the book and bring it to life. Highly recommended." This was March 15th, 2023. The book was released 10 days earlier on March 5th, 2023, the 1-year anniversary of Eric's death. She clearly didn't feel too bad. I mean, the husband she's accused of murdering, it looks like he's having a great time in heaven. Sure, she probably thought she was doing him a favor. So yeah, let's get into it. What did the police learn in the 1 year from when Eric was found dead to the following year when Kouri was arrested? A lot, it seems, and the motive was good old money, and by that, you know what I mean. $2 million bucks, pal, spread across 4 life insurance policies, all taken out seemingly without Eric's knowledge. She also changed the life insurance policy, his own life insurance policy, the one he was aware of, to change the beneficiary from his company to her. The company was notified, and Eric changed it back. See, a few years before, while on vacation in Greece, Kouri Richins made Eric a little drinky drink that made him violently ill. Eric told this then to his sister, and he told her at the time, "Yeah, I think she tried to kill me." Then, on Valentine's Day 2022, so maybe 2.5 weeks before his death, Kouri made Eric a sandwich that he took 1 bite out of and was violently sick. Yet again, he had to take an EpiPen to save his life, like he couldn't breathe. This time he told his business partner, "Yeah, I think my wife just tried to kill me, and I think this is the second time she tried to do it." And then he changed the beneficiary in his will and also a power of attorney from Kouri to his sister. He seemed pretty confident that Kouri was going to try and kill him for money, and he was right. Eric also believed Kouri was cheating on him and had been throughout the marriage. She's off banging someone else. She's changing your life insurance policy, the beneficiary, to herself. She tried to kill you twice, and he's still... I think a sign saying your wife is trying to murder you would be less subtle than what was actually happening. Now, I hear you're barking, big dog. Eric clearly knew Kouri was trying to kill him. Why did he stay in the marriage? I mean, she already tried twice, and third time is apparently the charm. Well, he simply didn't want his 3 sons to grow up in a broken home. End of story. He had contacted a divorce attorney about 2 years before, but he never went through with it. Money had long been the source of problems between Kouri and Eric. In 2020, Eric learned that Kouri had spent $250,000 in their home equity, withdrawn another $100,000 from his bank account, and spent over $30,000 on his credit card. And by the way, the house they were buying, Eric was not buying that big mansion thing for $2 million. Eric was like, no, I'm not fucking buying that shit. He was refusing to pay for it, so I guess she kind of wanted him out of the picture for that also. She successfully purchased the house the day after he died, and then 2 weeks later she put it on the market again, flipping it. This time she's putting it on the market for $3.7 million. Wasted literally 0 time. The police were in fact onto Kouri pretty quickly because she is an idiot. The night Eric died, Kouri said she went into her son's bedroom to read him a children's storybook. She said she left her phone in the bedroom, in her bedroom. Well, an analysis of her own phone would find out that it had been locked and unlocked many times, with many texts sent and received, all of which were deleted. Kouri also told the police and the emergency services when they arrived that night that she tried to do CPR when she found Eric, cold to the touch in the bedroom, but they didn't believe that to be true because they found Eric with blood in his mouth and there was no blood on Kouri at all. See, what though really broke this case open was when the police contacted an acquaintance of Kouri's, a woman known only as CL. CL is believed to be the person Kouri bought the fentanyl from, the fentanyl she used to kill Eric. Tried to kill him a couple of times. CL, she told the police that sometime between December 2021 and February 2022, Kouri contacted them asking for some pain meds for an, quote, investor, unquote. They gave Kouri some meds. 2 weeks later, Kouri contacted them again, asking for some stronger stuff. Some, quote, this is literally what she said, some Michael Jackson stuff. What, kids? Kouri, for $900, received between 15 and 30 pills of fentanyl. After Kouri received that, 3 days later was Valentine's Day when Eric took a bite of a sandwich and was violently ill. Kouri asked for more, paid another $900 for fentanyl pills. 6 days after she got him, Eric was dead. Kouri then, 2 days after Eric died, she called a locksmith over to the house to try and drill into a safe which she believed contained over $100,000. The day he died, she said they were celebrating closing the house. That's likely untrue. Eric's family would tell investigators that he had told her that very day he was not buying the house, and she was being cut out of his will. Then, the day after he died, she closed on the deal. After Eric's death, Kouri believed she was getting a nice little payout of about $3.5 million. No, she was not, because she wasn't aware that Eric had changed the will from her to his sister. So I can only imagine Kouri's expression. It's very, very funny if you imagine what her expression was like when she learned she was cut out of his will. All the money, the life insurance, the houses, all his assets, all that type of shit. It's very, very funny. But then, of course, began a legal battle. She was disputing the will. Then, a year later, she was arrested and charged with murder. She is currently sitting in the Summit County Jail. She's so psychotic, it is like out of frame. She's so psychotic, it's as out of this frame as she is out of her mind. What kind of stuff must be going through that slimy piece of shit she calls her brain is actually insane, that she would murder her husband for life insurance and for all this money and then write a book about the grief she and her kids experienced when she's the one who killed him and obviously doesn't seem to give a shit, kind of, her mannerisms and stuff like that. Odd. This story is just so insane. I mean, she's the kind of person to kill her husband, then write a book about getting over the trauma. Now, I know that's exactly what she did, but how just truly batshit bananas this story is can't be overstated.
Thank you, Kouri.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching this whole video. I really appreciate it. You know, here the next whole video will be out in a couple of days. And here, before I go, let me just sell my ass for a minute. If you're looking for more of that chapter, please check out the Patreon, where for $2 a month you get early access to videos. There's also a Patreon only playlist of videos, Patreon only videos, live streams, that sort of thing. Check out the That Chapter podcast for a lot of podcast only stories, often told with me and a friend. And yeah. Man, that kind of wraps it up, actually. It's more or less all I had to go through. Yeah, here, listen, I'll see you in a couple of days. But until then, as always, please look after each other. Please look after yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.